One evening in the year 2000, I received a phone call from a Latino activist urging me to join the effort to organize a tenant association at 1611 Park Road in Northwest DC. I know this building well because whenever I went to visit Vietnamese refugee family, I couldn't breathe. The smell of black mold like rotten vegetable was everywhere, on the walls and up on the ceiling. In this building, our 16 families, half of them are Vietnamese. The other half are African American and Latinos. Most of the Vietnamese and Latino can't speak English. In order for the organizing to work, we must get everyone on board. Although I want to join the effort, I know that I'm going to have to push myself to work an extra 6 to 8 hours a week on top of the 60 hours I'm already working at Asian American Lee, also known as AA Lee, where I'm the founder and executive director, a nonprofit that helps refugee youth to move out of poverty through education. But I couldn't turn my back on these Vietnamese tenants who are also parents in the AA Lee program. These parents are former political prisoners. They spent many years in prison camp where when they were sick, they received no medicine. When they got out of prison, they couldn't get a job because of their record. These men reminded me of my own father. Here in the United States, they had to depend on their children and people to translate for them. My father, who is fluent in Vietnamese, Cantonese, and Mandarin, would panic anytime he received a letter because he can't read English. He would have to wait for me or my sister to come over and help him translate. So when I heard that the landlord sent notices to these Vietnamese tenants and threatening to evict them, I felt like my blood was boiling. I know the landlord takes advantage of these tenants because they can't speak English. So although I know nothing about tenant organizing, I decided to join the effort. Twice a week, we sat in circle with 16 tenants, a lawyer, and a Spanish translators. We take the time to explain to these tenants the process and procedures. We teach them how to write the bylaw for the tenant association. The meeting is 3 or 4 hours long because we had to conduct it in 3 languages. Most of the tenants could hardly stay awake. Their eyes glazed over as the lawyer explained the rules and regulations. I mirrored the same exhaustions after a long day of work. As I sat and listened, my stomach was growling because I had no time to eat dinner between my 2 jobs. On top of that, I didn't know how to translate legal terms like bylaw into Vietnamese. All I can do was depend on the trust that I've been building with these parents. They trust me because I've been coming to their home, visiting them, translating letters for them. Also, their children had been coming to Asian American Lee to get help with homework and learn how to apply for scholarship. During this meeting, I asked these tenants to give me permission to advocate on their behalf. I only have their best interests in mind. So in the period of 3 months, I accompanied these tenants to open a bank account for the association. I reassure them that they can send their rent to the association's account instead of paying the landlord. But many of the Vietnamese tenants were worried that they would get evicted. They worried that their money be lost in the association's account. Again and again, I reassure them. I promise them that I will be responsible if they lost their money or they get evicted. One of the father, Mr. Hung Dang, say, "We put our trust in you. We're going to hold you to it." I jokingly said to him, "You know where I work. I can't run away." Over the period of 1 year, the Washington lawyer committees helped the tenant purchase the building, sue the landlord, and then turn the building over to a nonprofit housing developers for them to renovate build the building. Throughout the whole time I'm working with these tenants, my only hope is that they will get to go back and live in a beautiful home where they can breathe fresh air. And they can still pay the same rent, like $500 a month for a 3-bedroom apartment. But to my surprise, 2 years later, the tenant association won the lawsuit. The tenant association received $285,000 in settlement from the landlord. Each family received $15,000 to compensate for their suffering. The tenant association decided to set aside part of the award to give to the 3 nonprofits that helped them. One day, almost everyone from the tenant association came to AA Lee and asked to meet with me. They thanked me for my effort and then present a $20,000 check to AA Lee. Mr. Hung Dang said, we didn't know that we could demand change. We didn't think that it was possible. If no one stood up for us, we would have to leave our homes. I thought to myself, I didn't think it was possible either. But I realized that when President Lincoln, and now I know what President Lincoln really meant when he said, government of the people, by the people, for the people. Thank you very much.